Now then, Rob, I said I was going to do you a monthly video, what I've been doing this month. Now, I was trying to work out how I was going to do it, and so what I've got is I've got photographs that I'll send you, but I'll use them to remind me of jobs that I've done, because like you, trying to think what I've done this month, I'd be saying like, yeah, I've done fuck all actually. But, so, first job, no photographs to show you, but it was nothing to show you. But this was a decompressor valve on the on that Yam, and basically it's a little valve that lifts when you kick the bike over to reduce the compression so it starts better. So anyway, I had it apart, and you can see there was a big groove in there where the seal was meant to sit. Oh God, what have I done that? Yeah, right. But the seal wasn't a flat seal. Well, it was missing. It turns out it was only a little O-ring. So anyway, I didn't like how the O-ring was rolling in that massive groove. And so what I did was I machined a smaller groove and put the O-ring into that. And that sorted that out. Finished the camper van. Put it on a couple of switches, you know, I was talking about the diesel heater, so that was another job. Made a loom up, wrapped the loom in heat shrink, and, you know, heated it all up and put proper connections all on the end, also soldered connections, so it's like a proper job. Looks quite good. Right, another thing. This is a sprocket cover off the Yam, and this bit at the end here, you can see it's slightly different, was missing. So I built that up with E-metal, reshaped it, and you won't be able to tell really when it's on. I've got some photos of that. Other stuff like the end cover on the Magneto, that was touching. I had to grind stuff out of that to make it fit, because it's had a later Magneto fitted, and I think that's my next picture. Let me have a look on here. Yes, so I've got the engine on the bench at the minute. So Magneto, this is off a slightly later model, so it's just a little bit deeper, about 2mm, and it was just catching the case. Instead of just grinding a bit of bloody metal off the case, what they'd done is they'd made this, you see, this plastic spacer. Buggered about somebody for ages making a plastic spacer when there was no need. It just needed a little bit of grinding on the inside. Anyway, took this off, and there's a few photos, and the stator on the back, it's got no markings for timing at all. So I ended up making, and I haven't got it here, but you'll see a little picture, a little timing plate that bolts on here, and I set all my timing marks up and set my static timing using that, and I'll finish it off when the motor's back in the bike. I'll use a strobe and set it properly. So that was that. When this was off, the guy before me had fitted a new crankshaft oil seal, and he got the bloody oil seal on backside first. You'll see a picture of that. I've not replaced that yet, but I've now bought one, so I'm going to replace that. Now, the bike, I never intended in taking the engine out, etc, etc, but the girlfriend said, "Oh, you've cleaned all these bits up, and, you know, the frame looks a bit shitty now, so I think you should paint the frame." So I stripped the bike, as you do, so it's turned into a fucking restoration. Right, photographs. Oh yes, the monoshock on this bike. Quite innovative for its time. It's got this one single shocker that goes up through the tube in the frame. Nitrogen filled thingy on the end, and as you can see, it's got brass bushes in there, which were fucked. So took it off, and I made, when I undo this is as bad as you doing stuff one-handed. You can see that the bushes are like I don't know what the technical name is, but you know, brass on the inside, steel on the outside. So I found a tap. I could put a thread into it, and then I turned this up. I think it was BSP I had to use in the end, and turned it up on the lathe and kept it quite a little bit oversized so it was tight. Put that in and then machined a thread into that end, and that fits onto my slide hammer, and so I slide hammered out the bush. I've left the other side in at the minute, and the Yamaha bushes were going to be extortionate price and could only get them from America, so I found some oil light ones from Simply Bearings, which were considerably cheaper. I think about 12 or 15 quid for a pair of them, so they're to go in. So what I'm going to do is make up a guide so that I use the existing bush to guide in the bush on this side when I press it in, and then after I've pressed the new bush in, I'll then take the other worn one out and put the other one in, and then this has all got to come apart because it's an unknown quantity, so I want to have a go at that. I managed to get a manual off the internet, so hopefully that'll help me take it apart. It's a manual for the shocker, so that's a bench job to be done. Let's go back to my photos. Yeah, so I'll send you pictures. You'll see the slide hammer and what have you. Oh yeah, next job was that's the where the side stand attaches to the frame, and this was all fucking bent and worn and what have you. So this is new, and it's cut it across there and put a new one on, and you'll see the pictures of that. The stand as well, that was it was cracking and what have you all up at the top here, so I've welded that up and reshaped it and fucked about with that. The frame, the bike's now in bits, as you can see, so I've got the frame is ready for sandblasting. It's not that bad, but you know, needed doing. One of the, you know, these, you know, on these little square nuts, this one here was knackered. Somebody had drilled it out very badly and had a bolt in, so I made a little square nut, and let's see if it will focus. I welded that on. Put a rib nut actually in there. That should have been a captive nut as well. That's the bolt to hold the tank on, but the rib nut was just a perfect fit, so I thought, I'll just put that in. That'll work all right. Swinging arm, that's all. It had new needle roller bearings in there, and I was going to damage them getting them out, so I've just used rubbers, suspension rubbers, and a bit of screw rod just to protect all that from the sandblasting. So that was that job. What else did we do? Yeah, so at this point all the bike's together and I'm just doing all these little odds and sods of jobs, and then of course it just all got to be a bigger job. Oh yeah, I made previous month I got this switch sorted, but I made up a little loom and used the shrink fit, heat shrink fit, fucking whatever you call it, to make a nice little loom for the handlebars. Got new cables, new levers. But anyway, then that's all come off again. And what else did I do? Oh yeah, there's a local auto jumble. It's about 50 mile away from me, and last month I got this metal tray, and with not all of those weights, but nearly all of those weights, and all new, and I got it for 15 quid. 15 quid, all them lead weights. It was bloody marvellous. So the girlfriend sorted all my lead weights out, resized them all, and I've even got some in these little top buckets as well. So that was another fucky about job that was done. I've been doing a few bits and bobs of sandblasting and cleaning stuff up. So like this bloody chain guard or the brake lever that was a little bit out of alignment, a bit bent. So to heat that up and bend it. So all these bits have been painted. The same with the gear change that was bloody bent. So the back plate, I've sandblasted that and painted it. I've got various bits in here that are all been painted and done. So loads of fucking about for England that you don't see anything. Today I've just been sandblasting top yoke and painting that, and some springs off the foot pegs, and also the bottom yoke. Been doing that. And also today, I've gone out of order now, haven't I? But also today, I've been doing these. So these are the foot pegs, as you can see, and they were quite badly worn. So I've made some bushes. I drilled them out with a slot drill. A bit sketchy work holding, but managed it. And made up these bushes, pressed them in tonight, and they're pretty good now. There's a bit of wattle because the pin's worn, but I can't without building that up with brays and fucking about. It's not worth doing. But they're loads better because they were like a turd in a piss pot. They were really awful. So they've been blasted and primed, but I'm going to paint them the same time as do the frame because I'm going to use a slightly different paint on that, and I want it to match and be the same colour. Right, what else? Oh yeah, the guy before me again, he'd put taper roller bearings in the headstock, new ones, and then the soft ass left the old fucking race in. Look at that. The race is fucked. Put a new bearing in. But, honestly, they shouldn't be allowed a bloody Meccano set, some people, should they? Never mind the bloody motorbike. Anyway, and then, if you'll have seen this now, but I bought this ramp this month. So there was a whole day of getting that round here, deciding where I was going to put it in the garage, and etc. Put rib nuts in here so you can move where the front clamp goes. That's as high as it goes. There was the ones that I really liked that were, they go higher and just better quality. Ba-di-da-di-da. They were bloody $3 and $4 grand, ridiculous. So there was no way I could justify that to myself for a motorbike bloody stand. So I got this one. It seems all right. It's got the bit at the end so you can take your wheel out, and I got can you see that a lifty thing, a jack, I suppose, that goes underneath as well. So for the jack and for the ramp, it was, I think it was $660 in total for everything delivered. So yeah, seems all right. So I've yet to have a bike on it apart from lifting an empty frame on it. So it's a hydraulic pump. The thing I don't like about it is the pump freestanding, so you have to move the pump around a bit out of the way. But there was lots of compromise on these cheap end of the market ones, and so I had to go for all the features that I wanted as opposed to some of the features I didn't. And it's also got this little air fitting on the end, so you just plug it into your air line and you don't have to pump it with your foot, it pumps the hydraulics with air with that pneumatic cylinder, so that makes life a lot easier for it going up and down. So yeah, that was a loss of, I think it was a loss of 2 days, because it was a day that I got it and then had to get it out of this bloody wooden crate and move it, and just a pig of a job, as you can imagine. But then there was best part of another day bloody rearranging where I had this bench here and moving stuff around in here to think how it was all going to work, and even this doesn't move easily. I have to move this bench on using me engine crane, because I've got this, I bought one of these 3-in-1 folder things earlier on this year. I managed to get that second hand, but it had hardly been used. So anyway, I've been wanting one of them for donkey's years. So I've got one, I've used it a couple of times, and that's been dead good. Right, what else have I been up to? Oh, I've been away on holiday for a week. Don't like holidays, so enough said about that. And the final thing I've done, I brought I can turn it around. Hello. I brought the Discovery up from down at my lockup, because I decided I'm going to use that, because I didn't use it at all last year. So I brought that up, and it had a bit of paint peeling around the sunroof again. It's from the day that I painted it, when I resprayed it 10 years ago, I had a reaction round the sunroof, and I repainted the roof once to try and get over it, and it's reacted again. It's just the paint just lifting, flaking slightly. So I've rubbed that down and painted it just with a rattle can. It needs polishing. It's a bit, it's not a great paint repair, but it's up on the roof, you can't see it, but it needed doing, because that's going to have to sit outside. And I've remembered I did another job on my TVR. You'll see a picture of my little miller, and I'm milling a brake pad down. One of the rear discs on the inside, it wasn't clear, the full face, and there've been new discs and pads last year, so it should have been. And for some reason, the pad isn't sitting square on against the disc. It was like at an angle, so I couldn't work out what on earth's going on and why it's like that. But it was like that before I replaced the discs, so I wonder if the caliper's bent or something. I'm not sure. But what I've done is I basically cut a taper on the pad, so I'm now getting a full face across the disc. So that was just a one night bugger about job. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's me monthly update. Look at all I've got this to bloody clean. The brass and shit everywhere. That's that. I've got my wheels to do. That's the next job, and the front forks as well for the bike. So I've got plenty of bits and bobs to do, and that suspension thing. I've got the carb to take to bits and clean. I've got this airbox to clean up, and then once I get that the frame blasted and painted, I can start building it back up. So see you later. Bye.